Dear God, thank you for the opportunity to meet together. Please help us to come together to make this institution reflect your kingdom. Breathe life into our ideas and decisions. Help us build a team that has love and respect at its heart. Give us the strength to continue working for your kingdom in this time of pandemic. Lord, come give us the inspiration to be the best we can be. May we be a shining example of your goodness and truth within, wherever we are. Inspire our thoughts, discussions, and ideas, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth for the greater glory of you. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Let's go. Tap.
Shoes on, get up in the morning, cup of milk, let's rock and roll.
Clap, clap. Open.
Kink out, kick the drum, rolling on like a rolling stone.
Good.
Sing song when I'm walking home, jump up to the top of the brown.
All right, we're gonna keep the hands the same. We're gonna change the feet. Take it out. 4. Good, good. Open. All right, we're gonna have us change here. Rock. Good. Up, then down. Rock. Up, down. Shine. Good. Nice and smooth. Rock it out. And up.
Mama, eto na ako ngayon. Ang dami ko ng sakit. Kasi, puro junk foods at soft drinks kinakain ko. Sana pala, healthy foods. Sorry, Mama. Matigas ulo ko. I love you.
Our bodies are our gardens, to which our wills are our gardeners. So, the only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather do. Magandang buhay mga ka-eduk! Our group is assigned to report the Unit 3, which is all about the characteristic of nutritious diet. This unit defines the dietary reference intakes and explains their functions, and describe the processes of digestion, absorption, metabolism, and how the digestive system works. For our learning objectives, at the end of this unit, we are able to first, calculate the daily nutrient intake of persons. Second, illustrate the flow of food from the mouth to excretion. And third, explain the gastrointestinal tract and its function.
Audio Jungle.
Hello here, there, and everywhere! I am your teacher Loisa, the first reporter. I have a game here and it is to be answered for all of you guys. Okay, are you ready? I can't hear you! Okay, great! I will give you 5 seconds to answer this. All you need to do is to be honest with yourself and try to reflect. First, what do you eat the most? Ampalaya or chippy? How many cups of rice can you finish in a dinner? 1 cup or 2 or more cups? Do you like fruits and veggies? Then samgyupsal? Yes or no? Okay, thank you for your answer. Those questions are related to our topic, which is the characteristics of nutritious diet. Nutritious diet divided into 4 characteristics, which are adequate, moderate, balanced, and varied. The first one is adequate. Sapat ba yung kinakain natin? An adequate diet is one of the famous nutrients-dense foods. Okay, when we say nutrient-dense foods, those are the foods that contain many essential nutrients per calorie. Nutrient-dense foods are the opposite of empty calorie foods such as sugar carbonated beverage, which are also called as nutrient poor. Choosing more nutrient-dense foods will facilitate weight loss, while simultaneously providing all the necessary nutrients. The next is moderate. Dapat ang pagkain ay katamtaman lang. Okay, most of us eating a lot, di ba? Tayo kasing mga Filipino, we eat breakfast and then merienda and then may lunch pa. After lunch, merienda ulit, then dinner, tapos may midnight snack pa. Why, mamen? Okay, moderation is crucial for optimal health and survival. Burgers, french fries, cake, ice cream, each night for dinner will lead health to complications. That's very true. Sino ba dito ang hindi nakakilala kay Jollibee? All of us like Jollibee and McDonald's. But as part of an otherwise healthful diet and consumed only on a weekly basis, this should not have too much of an impact on overall health. If this is done once per month, it will have even less of an impact upon overall health. It's important to remember that eating is a part in about enjoyment and indulging with a spirit of moderation. This fits within a healthy diet. Your diet must provide enough nutrients but not too many. Okay? This is where an adequate and moderation diet will fit in. An adequate diet provides enough calories, essentials, nutrients, and fiber to keep you healthy. In contrast, a moderate diet avoids taking in excessive amounts of calories or eating more of one food or food group than that is recommended. In the case of calories, for example, consuming too much leads to obesity. Okay? The concept of moderation allows you to appreciate portion sizes of any food as well as the indulgence of occasionally high-calorie, high-fat foods. Those are the coverage of my report, and I hope you enjoy while learning. Again, I am your teacher, Eloisa Rodriguez. Thank you so much for your cooperating.
Good day everyone! I am Teacher Nicole, your next reporter for today's discussion. This is the continuation of Ma'am Eloisa's report, The Characteristic of Nutritious Diet. There are 4 characteristics of nutritious diet. The first 2 Ma'am Eloisa discussed to you. Do you remember what are the 2 characteristics? Yes? You're correct. The adequate and moderate. Now, I will discuss the another 2 characteristics of nutritious diet. But before I will proceed to our next characteristic, I have some picture here. Can you guess what it is? Do you know this picture? This one. Do you know what is it? These 2 picture is about in our next characteristic, the balanced diet and the varied diet. The next characteristic is the balance. To function, our body properly needs all nutrients derived from food, protein, carbohydrates, and fat, as well as vitamins and minerals. Balance is the key to maintain a healthy weight and has the best chance of staying healthy. Although it may sound simple to eat enough but not too much of the necessary nutrients, survey shows the most adult Americans find this hard to do. One of the best ways to overcome this problem is to select nutrient-dense foods. Nutrient-dense foods contain many nutrients for the calories they provide. In all stages and conditions of life, we need a balanced diet that can adapt to the same principles. For example, children and older adults need a little more protein and calcium for growth, maintenance, or repair. Characteristic is the varied. You need a varied diet. In other words, you need to eat a wide selection of foods to get the necessary nutrients. If you imagine everything you eat for 1 week in a grocery cart, How much variety is in that cart from week to week? Do you eat the same bread, the same brand of cereal, the same types of fresh fruit, and so on? Every week, do you constantly eat your favorite foods? Do you try new foods? A varied diet is important because it makes it more likely that you will get the essential nutrients in the right amounts. Eat a variety of foods. Healthy eating means eating a wide variety of foods from each of the 5 major food groups in the amount recommended. The Australian Dietary Guidelines provide up-to-date advice about the types and amount of foods that we need to eat for our health. These are shown in the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating. Eating variety of foods from the 5 major food groups provide a range of different nutrients to the body, promotes good health, and can help reduce the risk of disease, as well as keeping your diet interesting with different flavors and textures. Many of the foods that often feature regularly in modern diets do not form part of the 5 groups. These foods, sometimes referred to as junk foods, discretionary choices, or occasional foods, can be enjoyed sometimes but should not feature regularly in a healthy diet. Fats and oils are high in kilojoules energy but necessary for a healthy diet in a small amount. No matter where you are starting, it's easy to make little changes to bring your eater closer in line with Australian dietary guidelines. Just focus on eating foods from the 5 major food groups and reducing your intake of occasional foods. The 5 major food groups are vegetables and legumes or beans, fruits, lean meats and poultry, fish, eggs, tofu, nuts, and seeds. Grain or cereal foods, mostly whole grain or high cereal fiber varieties. Milk, yogurt, cheese, or alternatives, mostly reduced fat. Foods are grouped together because they provide similar amounts of key nutrients. For example, key nutrients of milk, yogurt, cheese, and alternative groups include calcium and protein, while the fruit group is a good source of vitamins, especially vitamin C. Eating a varied, well-balanced diet means eating a variety of foods from each of the 5 food groups daily in the recommended amount. Because different foods provide different types and amounts of key nutrients, it is important to choose a variety of foods from within each food group. As a bonus, choosing a variety of foods will help to make your meals interesting so that you don't get bored with your diet. So that's all the 4 characteristics of nutritious diet: the adequate, the moderate, balanced, and varied. I hope you learned something in my discussion. Once again, this is Nicole Kate Sierra-Vanal from BTLED 2A.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Maria Catherine L. Ramirez from BTLED 2A. And for the continuation of Ma'am Rebanal, I'm in charge of discussing the next topic, which is the nutrient recommendation, dietary reference intakes. But before we proceed, let's play a game called Fill the Missing Letter to complete the word. So let's start. Dietary Reference Intakes, or DRI, are the recommendation levels for specific nutrients and consist of a number of different types of recommendations. The RDIs are developed by the Standing Committee on the Scientific Evaluation of Dietary Reference Intakes of the Food and Nutrition Board, a unit of the Institution of Medicine, part of the National Academy of Sciences, with involvement by Canadian scientists. Recommended daily allowances. The dietary intake value that is sufficient to meet the nutrient requirements of 97 to 98% of all healthy individuals in a group. The RDA is based on the estimated average requirement or EAR. If there is not enough scientific evidence to justify setting an EAR, an adequate intake is given. Once the EAR of nutrient has been established, the RDA can be mathematically determined. While the EAR is set at a point that meets the needs of half the populations, RDA values are set to meet the needs of the vast majority of the target healthy population. It is important to note that RDAs are not the same thing as individual nutritional requirements. The actual nutrient needs of a given individual will be different than the RDA. However, since we know that 97 to 98% of the population needs are met by the RDA, we can assume that if a person is consuming the RDA of a given nutrient, they are most likely meeting their nutritional needs for that nutrient. The important thing to remember is that the RDA is meant as a recommendation, and meeting the RDA means it is very likely that you are meeting your actual requirement for that nutrient. Adequate intake or AI. The dietary intake value that is used when an RDA cannot be based on an EAR. AI is based on an approximation of nutrient intake for a group of healthy people. For example, there is no EAR or RDA for calcium, only an AI. An AI is given when there is insufficient scientific research to support an RDA. Both the RDA and the AI may be used as goals for individual intake or to access individual intake. AIs are created for nutrients when there is insufficient consistent scientific evidence to set an EAR for the entire population. As with RDAs, AIs can be used as nutrient intake goals for a given nutrient. You can use the DRIs to help assess and plan your diet. Keep in mind when evaluating your nutritional intake that the values established have been devised with an ample safety margin and should be used as guidance for optimal intakes. Also, the values are meant to assess and plan average intake over time. That is, you don't need to meet these recommendations every single day. Meeting them on average over several days is sufficient. That's all. Thank you for watching.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephanie D. Del Rosario from Bitalad 2A, and this is the continuation of Ma'am Catherine's report. Before we start to my report, let us do a quick game. This game is fill in the blank with missing letters. I will give you 5 seconds to answer the missing letters. Are you ready? So let's start. Let's proceed to the number 1. Okay. If your answer is tolerable upper intake level, you're correct. Number 2. You're right. The answer is estimated average requirement. Excellent. Good job. So let's proceed to my report. Nutrient recommendation dietary reference intakes. Number 3, tolerable upper intake level or UL, the maximum intake level above which the risk of toxicity increases. Intakes below the UL are unlikely to pose a risk of adverse health effects in healthy people. As intake increases above these upper levels, the risk of harmful effects increases. Tolerable upper intake levels were calculated by the Institute of Medicine for a specific age group because both the daily needs and the tolerance of excess nutrients vary depending on body size and specific nutritional requirements. Number 4, estimated average requirements or EAR. The dietary intake value that is estimated to meet the requirement of half the healthy individuals in a group. The dietary energy intake measured in kcalories needed to maintain energy balance in a healthy adult. The estimated average requirements EAR is the amount of a nutrient that is estimated to meet the requirements for a specific criterion of adequacy of half of the healthy individuals of a specific age, sex, and life stage. The EAR is used to assess the nutritional adequacy of intakes of groups or population and in nutrition research. The dietary reference intakes (DRIs) vary depending on age and gender, and there are dietary reference intakes for pregnant and lactating women. The dietary reference intakes (DRIs) are meant to help healthy people maintain health and prevent disease. They are not designed for seriously ill people whose nutrient needs may be much different. Dietary reference intakes (DRIs) are a set of reference value used to plan and access nutrients intakes of healthy people. They are used widely in: first, designing and evaluating research studies and results; second, developing dietary guidelines and food guides; third, planning and tracking nutrition-related public health programs and diets for military personnel. The importance of dietary reference intakes. DRIs are important not only to help the average person determine whether their intake of a particular nutrient is adequate. They are also used by healthcare professionals and policymakers to determine nutritional recommendations for special groups of people who may need help reaching nutritional goals. So that's all. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Keep safe and God bless.
Good day everyone, I am Adrian Bisimbulan from Vitlet today, and this is the continuation of Ma'am Stephanie's report. But before we start our discussion, I have prepared a game for you, a jumbled word. Okay guys, I will give you 3 seconds to answer each jumbled letters. The first letter is Time's up. Yes, miss.
Estimated energy requirement.
Yeah, that's right. Second letter is Okay guys, time's up. Yes, mister. What is your answer?
Acceptable macronutrient distribution ranges.
Okay, that's right. Okay guys, let's now proceed to my topic. What is energy requirements? The 2002 Dietary Reference Intake Report established an estimated energy requirements or EER for healthy individuals. EER is the dietary energy intake measured in kcalories that are needed to maintain energy balance in a healthy adult to not gain or lose weight. To calculate the EER for adults prediction equation for normal weight individuals, BMI of 18.5 minus 25 kg divide m squared were developed using data on total daily energy expenditure as measured by the DLW techniques. See the table 1 here. The EER is the average dietary intakes that is predicted to maintain energy balance in a healthy adult of a defined age, gender, weight, height, and level of physical activity that is consistent with good health. In children, pregnant, and lactating women, the EER accounts for the needs associated with growth, disposition of tissues, and the secretion of milk at rates that are consistent with good health. What is acceptable macronutrients distribution ranges? The 2002 Dietary Reference Intake Reports also established acceptable macronutrients distribution ranges or AMDR for carbohydrates, fat, and protein. AMDR is defined as the percent of kilocalories coming from carbohydrates, fat, or protein associated with a reduced risk of chronic disease while providing an adequate intake. The IOM calculated an acceptable macronutrient distribution ranges for carbohydrate is 45% to 65% of energy, protein 10% to 35% of energy, and fat 20% to 35% of energy. Lipid, saturated, and trans fats. This proportion provides a range broad enough to cover the macronutrients needs of most active individuals, but specific carbohydrates and proteins recommendations are also typically made based on a gram or kilogram body weight formula.
Hi everyone, I am Mark Kenneth L. Miguel, and today I am going to talk to you about the dietary reference intake values. But first, let me ask you a question. An apple a day keeps the doctors away. What does it mean to you? Let me know in the comments. I will give you 10 seconds to answer, or you can pause this video while answering. Are you finished? Okay, let's start. An apple a day keeps the doctors away. As this well-known saying suggests, we have long known that some foods have health benefits and help to prevent diseases. Awareness of the importance of good nutrition has risen in recent years. There is now consensus among scientists that poor diets and low level of physical activity can lead to a number of chronic conditions such as obesity, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, and even cognitive diseases like dementia. Humans need many nutrients if they are to stay healthy and reduce the risk of diet-related disease. A nutrient is a component of food such as protein, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. Which nutrient has particular functions in the body? Energy-providing macronutrients such as carbohydrates, fats, and proteins are needed relatively large quantities. Just take a look at this picture. This is a pie chart of dietary reference intake values. In USDA recommendations, or the United States Department of Agriculture, it tells that our body needs 10 to 15% or less of protein. The RDA, or the recommended dietary allowances for adult men and women, 0.8 grams of protein for every 2 pounds of body weight. 30% of fat and no more than 10% saturated fat recommended dietary allowances for fat. Fat intakes are compared with the recommendations from the 1995 Dietary Guidelines for Americans. No more than 30% of the calories from the total fat and less than 10% from the calories from the saturated fat. 55 to 60% recommended dietary allowances for carbohydrates. The USDA recommends that carbohydrates make up to 55 to 60% of your total daily calories. Now look at the IOM recommendations. They recommend 10 to 35% of protein, 20 to 35% of fat, and 45 to 60% of carbohydrates. This is how many calories are in 1 gram of each macronutrient. In carbohydrate, it has 4 calories per 1 gram. In protein, it has 4 calories per 1 gram also. And in fat, it has 9 calories per 1 gram of fat. How healthy adults should consume calories. If you want to be healthy living person, just follow this recommendation. 10 to 25% of protein, 22 to 35% of fats, and 45 to 65% of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, fats, and protein all contribute to body energy needs. To meet the needs for these macronutrients without increasing risk of chronic diseases requires that people eat a balanced diet. Low fat, high carbohydrate diets might be harmful to people with a particular type of blood lipid profile, while diets high in fat could lead to obesity and its complications. So if you want a healthy diet, just follow those recommendations. Next, we are going to talk about the food label. But first, what is food label? A food label is the information presented on the food product. It is one of the most important thing and direct means of communicating information to the consumer. This information, which includes items such as ingredients, quality and nutritional value, can accompany the food or be displayed near the food to promote its sale. What does a nutrition facts label can do? A nutrition facts label lists the nutritional content, the serving size, and the calories for a recommended serving for a food product. This helps consumers make the best decision on how much to eat, maybe when they want to eat this food, or how they can better balance their food choices throughout the day. In addition to the nutrition facts label, there is also an ingredients label. This lists all the ingredients in the food product from the largest amount at the beginning to the smallest amount of the ingredients at the end. This is where consumers can find information about what is in their food, such as allergies or if a product is a whole grain item. Just take a look at this picture. This is an example of food label, the food nutrition facts. We can see this to our food, especially to snacks, processed foods, and etc. As you notice, the nutrition facts contains different color. Each color have different meaning or interpretation for better understanding. First, the color red. The count calories. Look at the serving size, the number of servings, and the number of calories per serving. Second, the green one. Check for heart health. Choose foods that are lower in saturated fat and sodium. Keep trans fat to 0. Third, is it nutritionally valuable? Select foods that are nutrient dense and good source of fiber. And the last is the TIP. Consider how added sugars fit your daily budget. Some nutritional facts do not have color coding, so you must better remember this.
Have you ever wondered what will happen to our body after we eat? Great! This lesson will be suitable for you. Good day everyone, my name is Nutritious from Bitalet 2A and I'm one of the presenter for today. Are you excited to learn? Or do you have any idea about what will be our topic for today? Right! Our topic for today is about digestion, absorption, and metabolism. So the first one is digestion. Before the body can use the food, it has to be first absorbed by the bloodstream. This is done by the breaking the large insoluble food molecules into smaller, soluble ones by the process of digestion, which is performed by digestive system. Digestion is also the mechanical and chemical breakdown of the food into small organic fragments. Mechanical digestion refers to the physical breakdown of large pieces of food into smaller pieces, which can subsequently be assessed by digestive enzymes. In chemical digestions, enzymes break down food into the smaller molecules the body can use. The second one is absorption. The simple product of digestion is small enough to be absorbed by the epithelial cell of the intestinal villi. Each day, the alimentary canal processes up to 10 liters of food, liquid, and GI secretions. Yet less than 1 liter enters the large intestine. Almost all ingested food, 80% of electrolytes and 90% of water are absorbed into the small intestine. Although the entire small intestine is involved in the absorption of water and lipids, most absorption of carbohydrates and proteins occurs in the jejunum. The small intestine is highly efficient at this absorbing monosaccharides and an estimated rate of 120 grams per hour. Notably, bile salts and vitamin B12 are absorbed in the terminal ileum. Before the body can use the nutrients present in the food, the nutrients must pass through the stomach or intestine walls into the body's tissues, a process called absorption. Nutrients are absorbed into either the blood or lymph. Two fluids circulating throughout the body, delivering needed products to the cells and picking up waste. Blood is composed mostly of water, red blood cells, which carry and deliver oxygen to the cells, white blood cells, which are important in resistance to disease. It's also called immunity, nutrients, and other components. Lymph is similar to blood but no red blood cells. It goes into the areas where there are no blood vessels to feed the cells. So the last one is metabolism. Textbook define metabolism a topic in biochemistry as a series of chemical reaction that takes place inside of our bodies to sustain life. Now, this is a pretty broad definition of metabolism. So in this video, I really want to break this definition down to more workable understanding of what metabolism really is. The requirements of life, let's say in a human being, such as, maintaining a constant internal temperature, reproducing, growing, etc. All of that ultimately boils down to the body's ability to utilize four essential biomolecules. And these four essential biomolecules, or as they sometimes known as the macromolecules, are proteins, fats, carbohydrates or carbs, and nucleic acid, like DNA or RNA. And ultimately, all of these biomolecules perform different life-sustaining reactions inside of all the cells in our body to ultimately promote life. So as you can see, we are already begun to break down the definition of metabolism essentially. What we're saying here is that metabolism is really the study of how we're able to obtain the important biomolecules to sustain life. So, how we obtain these biomolecules? Now, a simple answer to this question is, of course, we eat food to obtain all of these important biomolecules. But there's an important word of caution here, which is that since most of foods comes from the living organism like plants and animals, these plants and animals also contain an array of proteins, fats, carbohydrates, nucleic acid, but not necessarily in the same flavor or configuration that our body would prepare. So what do our body do instead? Well, in our bodies, we go ahead and eat the food. So we break down this food through the process called digestion into the component parts of all these biomolecules. So what do I mean to the component parts? Well, the smallest subunit of proteins is called amino acid. And our body break down all the individual amino acids. And the same pattern continues for the rest of the biomolecules. So in the case of fats, we're talking about the fatty acids, which are the smallest subunits of fat. And for the carbohydrates, we are long chains of sugar. One of the most common subunit of carbohydrates that our body loves is called glucose. And then finally, for the nucleic acid, we're talking about nucleotides. So maybe you're probably thinking of how does breaking them down do anything for us. Now the key here is to recognize that in our body, there is actually a delicate balance going in between the process of breaking down molecules such as in the process of digestion, and then taking these products and building them back up. So essentially, you can see all of these subunits or monomers as Lego pieces that we're essentially constructing to build the right configuration of proteins, fats, carbs, and nucleic acids that our body needs. Metabolism is a balance between breaking things down and building them back up into our body. so that we can customize, so to say, that what type of macromolecules that we create. And just to throw vocabulary words, biochemists call the process of breaking down molecules in our body called catabolism, and similar sounding word called anabolism to describe the process of building molecules back up. Now, there seems all fine and elegant, but there's one more issue that we need to contend with, which is a consequence of having to balance breaking things down and building them back up. And that is the process of building molecules back up requires energy. So the question that I want to answer in this last part of my video is, where does this energy came from? Now, the answer to this question is that, well, we also get this energy by eating food. So how does that work? So first, recall that the energy currency of our body is the molecule called ATP, or also known as adenosine triphosphate. And these high energy molecules is often referred to when it's broken down into ADP, or also known as adenosine diphosphate. So it loses a phosphate group. It releases usable chemical energy that can fuel energy requirement process in our body, such as the building up process of anabolism. Now, in order for this process to continue non-stop in our body, ADP must be regenerated into ATP, and that is where the food comes in. So remember that we digest our food into all of these subunits, and some of the subunits such as glucose, fatty acids, mainly but occasionally amino acids, can essentially be used as fuel in our body. So just like wood, for example, it is a fuel for burning fire which produce heat. These fuels in our body can essentially be broken down even further to produce the energy that's necessary to convert ADP back into ATP, and thus allow this cycle to continue. And just to tie everything here together at the end, you will notice here that another way to interpret this cycle between ATP and ADP is to say that catabolism fuels anabolism. So, what do I mean by this? Well, essentially catabolism, such as the process of breaking down the extracting energy through process of the cellular respiratory, in coupled with this process of building things back up, and so in the essence of relies on the other, you can probably guess that these processes are really tightly regulated in our bodies, because obviously you wouldn't want to be breaking down something while you are building something back up.
Good day everyone, my name is Hazel M. Alarcon from Bitalet 2A, and this is the continuation of the report of Miss Donita. So Miss Alarcon, can you explain what is the meaning of gastrointestinal tract? The gastrointestinal tract, the organs that food and liquids travel through when they are swallowed, digested, absorbed, and leave the body as spaces. Once we smelled and tasted the food taken through the mouth is digested to extract nutrients and absorb energy, and the waste expelled. Amazing answer. Thanks, Miss Alarcon. Digestive system, the system of organs that break down food so the body can use the nutrients. Your body needs food to supply the chemicals you need to stay healthy. What foods need to be broken down into a substance your body can use. How does food move through our GI tract? Food moves through your GI tract by a process called peristalsis. The large hollow organs of your GI tract contain a layer of muscle that enables their walls to move. The movement pushes food and liquid through your GI tract and mixes the contents within each organ. Main organs of digestive system. Guess this. Amazing! Mouth. Food starts to move through your GI tract when you eat. When you swallow, your tongue pushes the food into your throat. Guess this. Amazing! Esophagus. Once you begin swallowing, the process becomes automatic. Your brain signals the muscles of the esophagus and peristalsis begins. Guess this. Amazing! Stomach. After food enters your stomach, the stomach muscle mixes the food and liquid with digestive juices. Guess this. Amazing! Small intestine. Muscles of the small intestine mix food with digestive juices from the pancreas, liver, and intestine and push the mixture forward for further digestion. Guess this. Amazing! Large intestine. Waste products from the digestive process include undigested parts of food, fluid, and other cells from the lining of your GI tract. Guess this. Amazing! Rectum. The lower end of your large intestine, it stores stool until it pushes stool out of your anus during a bowel movement. Guess this. Anus is the last part of the main organs of digestive system. It is 2 inches long canal consisting of the pelvic floor muscles and 2 anal sphincters such as internal and external. So this is the end of my part. Thank you and happy learning!
For the continuation of Ma'am Hazel Alarcon, I'm Luis Enesleyabres presenting to you the digestive system. Ang digestion ng food ay nagsisimula na agad kapag sinubo na natin yung pagkain at ninuyanan natin. And meron tayong tinatawag na salivary enzymes o in Tagalog ay laway na tumutulong para mag-break up yung pagkain na nasa bibig natin. At yung mga enzymes na yun ay nanggagaling sa salivary glands natin. After natin ngumuya at nilunok yung mga foods, nagdadaan muna siya sa pharynx natin para maiwasan mabulunan tayo. And after that, dadaan na siya sa esophagus natin, papunta sa tiyan natin. And sa ating stomach ay may mga saccharide gastric juices and hydrochloric acid. And iba pang mga active enzymes na tumutulong ng mga foods natin na kinakain natin. Also yung mga acid na to ay pinapatay yung mga posibleng pathogens na kasama ng mga food na kinakain natin, mga bacteria or mga parasites. Yung liver natin ay naglalabas ng bile or yung fluid na nag-help sa body natin para matunaw yung mga fats and i-convert into energy. Pinifilter din ng liver natin yung mga waste sa katawan natin. Halimbawa na lang kapag umiinom tayo ng gamot, alak, or nagtitake tayo ng cigarettes. Dahil sa mga bisyo na yan, unang-unang tinatamaan ang liver natin. Also, yung liver natin ay nag-i-store siya ng mga vitamins and iron natin sa katawan. Sa gallbladder naman natin ang gagaling yung bile na nilalabas ng liver natin, and it empties papunta sa small intestine natin. Yung pancreas naman natin ang gumagawa ng mga enzymes na tumutulong sa digestion ng mga foods. Also, nagpo-produce din siya ng bicarbonate na nagnunutrial ng mga acid sa stomach natin. Nagpo-produce din ito ng insulin na nag-help sa body natin para maging regular yung sugar level nito. After sa stomach, yung mga foods na kinakain natin, pupunta na siya sa small intestine natin para ma-digest yung mga protein, fats, and carbohydrates na galing sa kinakain nating foods. Dito na din, ina-absorb yung mga excess water natin sa body and nutrients. Dito na din nasa site yung mga fructose, malabsorption, and colic disease. Yung surface ng small intestine natin ay nababalutan ng villi para sa greater absorption. After sa small intestine, dediretso na yung large intestine natin na tinatawag din na colon. Ina-absorb nito yung mga tubig and electrolytes from stool. Naglalaman din yung mga large intestine natin ng mga beneficial bacteria like yung mga iniinom natin sa Yakult or yung mga Delight. Good bacteria yung mga kakahalo doon na nakakatulong sa body natin sa pagpoproduce ng vitamins. Dito din sa large intestine nabubuo and na-store yung feces. Ito namang appendix natin na isang pouch na naka-attach sa first parts ng large intestine natin. Rectum naman ay yung dulong parte ng large intestine natin. Sa kasunod na neto is yung anus natin. Dito din nag-i-store yung mga expels and feces. Last is yung anus natin. Dito na yung huling part na kapag ilalabas na ng katawan natin lahat ng kinain natin.
Good day everyone, my name is John Patrick Ental Placido from Italy 2A, and this is the continuation of the report of Mr. Luis Jan Leabres. But before we start, let us have a short game. I will give you a random letter and you need to play it over to find the answer. I will give you 5 seconds each word, so let's start. Well done. Now that you have idea about my report, let us proceed to our topic. Saliva is a clear liquid made by several glands in your mouth area. Saliva is an important part of a healthy body. It is mostly made of water, but saliva also contains important substances that your body needs to digest food and keep your teeth strong. It contains digestive enzymes and lubricates the food so it passes readily down to esophagus. Digestive enzymes helps break down food into form of nutrients that the body can use. Here are some reasons why saliva is important. First, it keeps your mouth moist and comfortable. Second, helps your chew, taste, and swallow. Third, fight germs in your mouth and prevent bad breath. Fourth, has proteins and minerals that protect tooth and prevent tooth decay and gum disease. And last, help keep denture securely in place. The glands that make saliva are called salivary gland. The salivary glands sit inside each cheek at the bottom of your mouth and near your front teeth by the jawbone. Pharynx, commonly called the throat. It is a passageway about 5 inches long that connect the oral and nasal cavities to the esophagus and the air tubes to the lungs. The pharynx has several important jobs. First, carries air to the respiratory system, deliver food and liquid to the digestive system, pushes food into the esophagus so it's not breathed in, equalize pressure in the ears and drains fluid from the ears. When swallowing occurs, flap of tissue or the epiglottis seal off the windpipe during eating, so the food is not accidentally inhaled or food does not go to the lungs. When food now enter to the esophagus, a muscular tube that leads to the stomach, food propelled down the esophagus by peristalsis, or a series of involuntary waves like muscle contraction which move food along the digestive tract. Peristalsis also help break up food into smaller and smaller particles. Food passes from the esophagus through the lower esophageal sphincter, a bundle of muscle at the low end of esophagus where it meets the stomach. When the LES is closed, it prevents acid stomach content from traveling backward from stomach. The stomach is a J-shaped organ that digests food. It produces enzymes, substances that create chemical reaction, and acid digestive juices. This mix of enzymes and digestive juices breaks down food so it can pass to your small intestine. The stomach is a J-shaped organ that digests food. It produces enzymes, substances that create chemical reaction, and acid digestive juices. This mix of enzymes and digestive juices breaks down food so it can pass to your small intestine. Hydrochloric acid helps your body to break down, digest, and absorb nutrients such as protein. It also eliminates bacteria and viruses. in the stomach, protecting your body from infection. Low level of hydrochloric acid can be profound impact of the body's ability to properly digest and absorb nutrients. Left untreated hydrohydria can cause damage to the gastrointestinal system, infection, and a number of chronic health issues. Also, acid is also produced when we eat or think about eating.
Good day everyone, this is Grace Hazel, a rocker from BTLED 2A, and this is the continuation of Mr. Tal Placido report. But before we start to our discussion, I have prepared a game for you. I know most of you are familiar with this game. So, are you ready? Okay, now let's start. This game is called 4 Picks 1 Word. Can you guess what's in the pictures? Very good. The answer is stomach. Now, let us proceed to our discussion. From the top part of the stomach, food is slowly moved to the lower part where the stomach churns it with hydrochloric acid and digestive enzyme. So, powerful hydrochloric acid in the stomach helps break down the bolus into a liquid called chyme. The stomach has the strongest muscles and thickest walls of all the organs in the gastrointestinal tract. The food is now called chyme, has a semi-liquid consistency, so muscular construction of the stomach walls help to mix food and digestive substances together in forming chyme. Chyme is next passed into the first part of the small intestine in small amount. The small intestine can process too much food at one time through the pyloric sphincter, which operates like the lower esophageal sphincter. Liquids have the stomach faster than solids do because there is less to break down, and carbohydrate or protein foods live faster than fatty foods do because complex carbohydrates are larger molecules. They are digested more slowly than simple carbohydrates, so they are less likely to be converted to fat. The stomach absorbs few nutrients, but it does absorb alcohol. It takes 1.5 to 4 hours after you have eaten for the stomach to empty. The small intestine, about 15 to 20 feet long, has 3 parts. First, the duodenum, second, the jejunum, and lastly, the ileum. The small intestine was so named because its diameter is smaller, about 1 inch, than that of the large intestine, about 2.5 inches. Not because it is shorter. The small intestine is longer. The duodenum, about 1 foot long, receives the digested food from the stomach because these are responsible for the continuous breaking down process, and enzymes from other organs in the body such as the pancreas and liver. The liver provides bile, a substance that is necessary for fat digestion, so your liver continually produces bile. This is a chemical that helps turn fats into an energy that your body uses. So bile is necessary for the digestive process. Bile is stored in the gallbladder and released into the duodenum when fat is present. The pancreas provides bicarbonate, a substance that neutralizes stomach acid. The small intestine itself produces digestive enzymes.
Hi, may I ask you, are you wondering about these foods? But after we eat them, it turns to this: poop. Do you know how our body can absorb the nutrients in the food? But if not, let us explore our intestines, both large and small. And after that, we will be able to know how the nutrients been absorbed and also how the waste or the poop will be ejected in our body. So, what are we waiting for? Let us now use the our bubble shield. And now that I have this, I will now transform into a cute little explorer. And now, transform! Hey! Help me! I need to go there! And now, I'm inside the chocolate bread. Let us now start our exploration in the inside of our body. And now, we have reached the small intestine. We can see the villi, finger-like projections on the duodenal wall. But the duodenal wall or the duodenum helps to break the food down. The small intestine receives digestive juices from other organs in your digestive system, including your liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. While the purpose of the villi in the small intestine is to increase the surface area and absorption rates. And under a microscope, we can see the microvilli, a hair-like structure in the villi called microvilli, or the cells on the villi are packed full of tiny hair-like structures called microvilli. This helps increase the surface of each individual cell, meaning that each cell can absorb more nutrients. The muscular wall of the small intestine makes the chyme with the digestive juices and bring the nutrients into contact with the villi. But most nutrients pass through the duodenum and jejunum villi into either the blood or the lymph vessels, where they are transported to the liver and the body cells. This process is called assimilation. The duodenum connects with the two sections of the small intestine, the jejunum, which connects the ileum. Food is in the small intestine for about 7 to 8 hours. After many processes from the small intestine, the food will now go to the large intestine. The large intestine, also called the colon, is about 5 feet long and extends from the end of the ileum to a cavity called the rectum. One of the functions of the large intestine is to receive the waste products of digestion and pass them on the rectum. Waste products are materials that we are not absorbed into the body. The large intestine does absorb water, some minerals such as sodium and potassium, and a few vitamins made the bacteria residing there. Bacteria are normally found in the large intestine and are necessary for a healthy intestine. Why? Because intestinal bacteria make some important substances such as vitamin K. They also can digest some components of food that we don't digest, such as fiber. The rectum stores the waste products until they are released as solid feces through the anus, allowing the process of elimination. And now, we are done exploring our internal intestines, the large and small intestine. And now we know also the process of food absorption and also the food elimination. Thank you and have a good day, and I hope that you enjoy and learn a lot of things in this video. Thank you and goodbye.
Do you like healthy food or do you like junk food? Do you like healthy food or do you like junk food? I like chocolate bars and I like apple pie. I like chips and cookies and I like salted fries. But healthy food makes you strong, healthy food makes you fast. Junk food, it makes you weak, junk food makes you big and fat. I don't care about that, I'll have a pizza please, and I'll take some soda and some extra cheese. But healthy food helps you grow, healthy makes you soft. Junk food, it makes you slow. But I like fudge and churros. I like candy too. I like hot dogs. I like fast food. Eating all this junk food makes me feel alive. But as the time goes by, I feel like I could cry. Too much junk food in you, and now you can't even move. You know that it's good for you. Why did you avoid the healthy food? Why do you eat junk food? I want fish and eggs. I want nuts and yogurt. I want fruit and veg. I love cheese and broccoli. I love rice and beans. I love ice water and salad that is green. And sometimes I'll eat junk food, but I won't forget all